From the Low Country to the Upstate, from the Midlands to the PD, we've got you covered. This is our state. South Carolina matters to us, all of South Carolina. We love talking ball, and we love talking ball with you. Thank you for tuning in to the Four Quarter Friday High School Show. Every Friday at 9 a.m. on the Chief Sports Network. Now, back to Justin and Steve.
Welcome to a special episode of the Four Quarter Friday Show. I have Coach Roger Smith, the head golf coach for both the girls and the boys at River Bluff High School. And we are talking about the girls golf state championships this week for this episode. And Coach, I'm very excited to highlight one of my favorite sports, and the girls golf in the state of South Carolina is actually our first episode that is not football. And so we are talking about ball, but just a little white one that is very difficult to hit. Coach, welcome.
Thank you for having us, and I'm excited to talk about girls golf.
All right, Coach, we are having some technical difficulties. Can you hear? I hear you see you, but it's a little bit on a delay. We're going to get through the tech issues here, and I think we've got it pretty much ironed out. So we're just going to go ahead and roll into it for our first segment. Coach, tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in education, how long have you been teaching golf, what is golf, the game of golf, how has that impacted your life and your journey through it?
I've been teaching this is my 29th year officially teaching, and I've been coaching golf, finished 25 years of coaching golf, and it's been a real blessing to be able to do that. You know, coaching golf, you get to know your players pretty well. You know, you can't walk on the football field and have conversations with your players as they're playing. You can do that with golf, and, you know, when they're practicing and things like that, and really get to, you know, see how their brain works and everything. So that's been a real blessing. You know, you get very close to your players and understand them, see what makes them tick, not only as a athlete, but as a person. And, you know, the other part of this is, you know, our coaching fraternity, much like in the other sports, is very, very close. You know, we're competing hard against each other and things like that, but then we spend a lot of time outside of competition with each other and try to grow the game and everything. So it's been great. 25 years doing this, and now this is year 26, so it's awesome.
Well, we're going to dig into that topic a little bit later because of we had a chance to kind of connect yesterday just to kind of prep for this episode, and growing the game is something that is kind of a golf mantra, you know, no matter what level you're talking about. But Coach, your team, I would be remiss to, you know, give you a chance to highlight your programs over at River Bluff. Y'all got a lot of great kids, a great school culture over there, in athletics and in academics. Last year, at the end of the year in the spring, your boys won a state championship. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's a little bit surreal. I think you mentioned that yesterday. It's, you know, a long time coming. It was after year 25, and built this program here from the ground up, have really, really great kids, great families. They worked hard. And, you know, when you say you kind of came out of nowhere, we kind of did and kind of didn't. I knew that we had a good team, that we were returning. We had lost a couple of seniors the year before, and actually did not qualify for the state tournament the year before. And that was a huge disappointment, and had conversation with the boys, said that's not going to happen again. And lo and behold, you know, we you know, win the upper state tournament. We lose a heartbreaking region tournament by 2 strokes, but win the upper state tournament and are tied after round one of the state tournament after kind of a interesting back. I'll just put it that way. And then going into 18, we had a 5-stroke lead, and people were congratulating me. I'm like, listen, that ball's not in the hole yet. Like, let's make sure that we get there. And then, on top of that, we had an individual player, our only senior that we had on the team, that had to go to a 5-hole playoff for the individual state title. Ended up losing after the 5th hole. So, he got to play number 18 at Wildwood 6 times in a row. But he ended up as runner-up in a playoff to a really great player from Dorman. But it was really, really a great experience. And it still completely hasn't sunk in, just because, it was right at the end of school. Like, we were going to the last week of school. We had, graduation 2 days later, and it was just a lot, all at the last week. So it's been really, really good. And then rolling into the fall, kind of same situation. We lose one senior who's playing in college for girls, and I knew that we had a good core, returning, 5 of our top 6, and knew that we were going to be good. We had a runner-up finish with girls, and we weren't even in the conversation last year, and then we became part of the conversation. And then we had a freshman move in that's really been a great player for us as well. And so we've been part of the conversation all year this year, and for girls. So that's been good. Now, I don't know, there's some expectations there for River Bluff Golf, and sometimes that's really, really good, and sometimes that's really, really dangerous.
Yeah. So, Coach, you've mentioned some courses already. If you aren't a golfer like we are, and I use that term loosely for myself, for sure. I'm just a weekend hacker, basically. But I try to tell myself, and I have a lot of friends that like to put some money on the line and have a good competition. But I've never personally been motivated by that when I'm out there swinging my sticks. Is because I knew the person I'm always having to beat is the person right in between my ears. And then I'm playing a course. I have to play that course and what it's allowing me on literally every shot. And so how much do you dig in? Excuse me. How much do you dig in with your players of trying to keep them focused in on their game, what's going on in their head in the golf course that they are playing? Because that's ultimately the biggest challenge is the course itself. Am I right?
Yes, it is. Because it's not flat. We're not playing on the football field. Each football field has its own subtle differences, but again, that's 100 yards. Every golf course is a little bit different, and every player is a little bit different in how you approach them. So the mental aspect of it is huge, keeping them calm, knowing when to talk to your players, know when not to talk to them, knowing the right words to say. And so that's kind of the benefits of being able to walk down the fairway and understand them and see what motivates them, and the right triggers, the positive triggers and the negative triggers, and make sure that they're not saying bad things themselves. When you're playing golf, we don't have caddies; they're their own caddies, and and the pros, they've got a caddy that kind of goes through this process and verbalizes things and helps people calm and encourages and reinforces the player's thought process. At the high school level, you have one coach and you've got 5 players playing, and that coach can be in one place at one time. And so it's up to the players to be their own personal caddy and talk to themselves in a positive way and not get too down, because that ball is going to bounce differently than what it did in a practice round or a practice, or when they're just playing for fun with their friends. So there's a lot of the mental part of it that we look at, and then the courses themselves provide their own unique challenges. So.
And the cool thing about this sport is that golf course is going to be different during the day. During the day of the round, it's going to play differently on the back nine than it could on the front nine from day to day. I mean, the state championship, Coach, is going to be a 2-day event. It's going to play a little bit different both days. But before we start digging into the state championships and the rest of the teams and some of the players, tell us a little bit about your River Bluff girls golf team.
We're a great group of girls. We've had a lot of interest that have come out. We had 15 girls on the team, and unfortunately, we had to make cuts this year. That's a great thing, but the growth of the game is good. But we've had a lot of success this year. We haven't raised a victory, as far as tournaments go. We've played lots of good events this year. We've haven't finished worse than third in any tournament, and we've gone to playoffs for championships and lost sudden death playoffs, and two, and seen teams from North Carolina and South Carolina, and even a team from Florida in a tournament. So we've got a good core of experienced players, but yet we're still young. Our starting lineup has 2 juniors, a freshman, a sophomore, and an 8th grader. So we're still young, and we have one senior on the team who's played well, and she's ready to go whenever. But she's right there on the stick spot for us, and tournaments we play 5 and count 4, and she's right there and just pushing, and like I said, it's a great group of young ladies. We've had a lot of fun this year.
So, Coach, we're going to go to a quick break, and after we get back, we're going to start talking about the state championships, because one thing that you haven't said yet, but Coach Scott Early, the executive director, passed on your name as the guy to talk to, as you're heavily involved with the Golf Coach Association in the state. And we're going to go do this quick 2-minute break, and then we'll be right back to talk golf all over the state of South Carolina.
Great.
It's football season. The Barn Dominium Company wants to help you build your dream home with your dream space to watch the games and entertain your friends and family. Make your dream a reality. Visit thebarndominiumco.com. That's thebarndominiumco.com for floor plans, photo galleries, locations, and to learn more about us.
Oh man, the building is on fire.
Emergencies and accidents happen. When you're in the middle of a fire or water event, all you want is for things to return to normal as soon as possible. Resto Pros of the Midlands is with you, guiding you through the process and working with you to get your home or office back in working order. They'll answer your questions, discuss procedures, and can act as your advocate when it comes to processing your insurance claim. Resto Pros Midlands SC.com. Open 24/7 when you need them. Quality that is guaranteed.
When playing sports, you want a coach that will fight for you. At Hewitt Diamaduros Law Firm, we've got your back. Whether it's personal injury, insurance disputes, negligence, or wrongful death, our team delivers exceptional legal services that makes meaningful difference in the lives of the individuals and families we work for. Visit hdlawsc.com. hdlawsc.com. you at Diamaduros. We're on your team.
Check the statewide high school scoreboard every Friday night on the Chief Sports app.
And welcome back to the Four Quarter Friday show. And we're talking about girls golf, and state championships are happening next week, August 27th through the 28th. Coach, let's dig in a little bit first to some of the courses. And we'll do this division by division. We'll start with 5A, go over Carolina Country Club in Spartanburg, South Carolina is where it's going to be held. And then we'll start talking about the teams and some of the players to look out for, and some of the the dark horses to win this whole thing, to raise the trophy at the end. Coach, tell us a little bit about Carolina Country Club in Spartanburg. What does this course provide as far as challenges? Where is it gettable? What are you telling your team as y'all are preparing to go win this thing?
Well, keep it in the fairway. So keep it in the fairway there. This golf course is awesome. They play a lot of events there. They've had the BMW championship there, Corn Ferry Tour. They've had the state junior. They have a lot of events there, and it's a very, very good course and great condition all the time. And the pros are awesome up there. They're very welcoming to us, but it has a lot of unique challenges on this golf course. There's a lot of water. There's some tight fairways. There's some interesting hills that will create some balances and uneven lies, and very challenging greens. So you've got to hit your golf ball pretty straight in a lot of areas, and you really need to know where to miss. And so we're actually going to be up there very soon for a practice round, and we're going to try to find out the right places to miss, because you're not going to hit every shot, unfortunately, but we're going to find the right places to miss. And if we're going to miss a green, where are we going to miss this green so we can get up and down to save our par or chip it in. So what I'm telling my girls is, where can I be in the best position to save a score? And let's avoid some of the double bogey and triple bogeys that might have cost us a championship or something. So there are some really good teams that are going to be there in 5A. Locally, you've got Lexington, who is back. They're the standard for girls golf across the state and have been, and they haven't won a championship in a while. They just came off a lower state championship where they played their best round of the season, so they're peaking at the right time. They've got two seniors, Taryn Smoke and Gia, and I can't pronounce her last name, but she's awesome. But they're really good, and Dorman is the three-time state defending champion. So, and they're playing essentially on their home course. They're hosting, and they're doing a great job of hosting. But I know that they want to win on their home course. We got Ava Romansky, who's their top player, is a senior, and they're going to be ready to play and ready to defend. And we've beaten them a few times. We've beaten Lexington a few times. They know that people are coming for them, but they've improved. But as everybody else in the state has improved as well. And you've got Carolina Forest in the Myrtle Beach area that played well at lower state. And from the Charleston area, you've got Ashley Ridge. So I would say you've got 5 teams that can really make a run at the state championship in 5A. And then individually, you've got Caroline Hawkins from Blythewood, who's looking to raise a 4th individual title. She's a really great player. She's committed to Clemson, and they're getting a gem of a person and a gem of a player up there. So you've got a lot of really, really good golf being played in 5A.
Yeah, and also looking at the post by Lou Bajak earlier the week, it looks like Dorman's also got a really good sophomore that finished second in the upper state, AC Peak, with a score of 71 this past week. So that's pretty cool to see, a sophomore. And then I see a freshman in the 4th slot from Malden that shot a 73.
Right. And where they were playing, I'm not very familiar with that golf course. They played at Edgewater, and Edgewater has actually hosted quite a few things recently as well. I don't know much about that golf course to see what those scores relate and things like that, but ultimately you got to put the ball in the hole, and everybody's playing the same golf course, and so they played really, really well at their qualifier. So
now, moving on to the next one, we got 5A Division II. 5A Division II, for all y'all that know, the biggest schools in the state are all in 5A, but there are pretty big differences between Division I and Division II. Division II, Coach, we're looking at in the lower state, teams like Conway, Chapin, West Florence, St. James to round out the top 4. And then Lucy Beckham, North Myrtle Beach, Lugoff, Elgin, Berkeley, and then Socastee for 5 through 9 in the lower state qualifiers. And then for upper state, that was, yes, I must be missing actually the upper state for 5A Division II right now, but it's going to be held at the Hackler. Tell us a little bit about the Hackler golf course and what challenges that course is going to provide those teams next week.
The Hackler, again, great golf course to, especially for girls. It's on the Coastal Carolina campus. It's usually in really good shape. It is a faders golf course. I can tell you that. There's only one dog leg left. The rest are dog leg rights, and there's a lot of dog leg rights. So you've got to, again, know where to miss. There are a couple tricky greens out there. For me and probably you, when we're playing, that water shouldn't be there. That bunker shouldn't be there. But it's going to catch a lot of golf balls. And the best thing about Hackler is you've got to learn how to be patient. There are places where you can rip your driver and things like that, but there aren't as many driver holes. And, the girls are playing 5,300 or so, and some of the girls have gotten a lot longer than when girls golf started. So they're going to have to tuck their drivers in their bag and be patient and try to score, with their wedges and things like that, a little bit more. But it's going to be a challenge for the girls, and the teams in the Division II. You've got T.O. Hannah's returning. Nearly everybody, I think everybody, and Marissa Scaletta. They won the state championship in a playoff over Chapin. Chapin is going to be right there. I think they were second in the lower state qualifier. And Conway is really, really good. So there's some depth in Division II. And, I'm not counting out any of these other schools, but, there's been a lot of improvement at girls golf across the state. So you've got West Florence that's up and coming and doing well too. But, I think you've got T.O. Hannah, who has won some pretty good tournaments this year, and we lost in the playoff to them. They've had some low scores, really low scores this year, and they've just gotten better as the years improved. And I get to see these girls play junior events over the summer, and so they've gotten a lot better. And Chapin's right there with senior leadership, and they're battle tested. And Conway has had a great season as well, and they're led by Reese Richardson, who is just an amazing young lady and is a great leader. And those girls are tight, and so they're playing at a golf course that's familiar to them. Those girls probably play lots of junior events and grown up playing the Hackler because they're so welcoming to juniors. So that should be a really, really interesting championship.
Coach, you mentioned a little bit about today's game, and let's take just a quick just pivot to talk about that a little bit. Me and you were on the phone yesterday, and you mentioned that, back when I was in high school, I graduated from Lexington in 2004 and knew about a lot of great girls golf in the Lexington County area, especially one of my friends and one of my wife's friends. She was in our wedding, Meredith Taylor, who we both know. It's changed quite a lot since we graduated in high school in 2004. Starting to show my age is getting up there a little bit now, but what's different about the game of golf?
I feel like it was still at its infancy when you were graduating from high school and Meredith was graduating from high school. That was actually one of the first group of girls that I had coached. I was at Brooklyn Casey at the time, and there were 3 schools. BC was the 3rd school that had a golf program in Columbia area. You had Lexington, you had Ridgeview, and then you had BC the first year that I started coaching. And that was before you graduated. And then it's just grown. The first year that I took a team to the state championship was that first year we had 6 girls said they wanted to play golf. I said, okay. And we played a state championship that was you sign up and play. You play double par. Everybody had the double par rule, and you awarded a state championship. And there's one state championship. And now we have 5 different girls state championships, and you're not playing double par pickup, and girls are shooting under par, and that was not the case. And it's amazing the change that has come about, and the popularity of the sport as well. Where education has the COVID effect, like there are gaps in education, things like that. Well, everybody started playing golf during COVID, and so girls golf is really, really popular now. And we've grown by almost 100 players from last year to this year that are on rosters for the high school league, and we have like 1,120 girls playing this year on rosters. And 8 years ago, it was under 800. So,
Wow.
we've gained a lot of players and interest, and, that's been a great thing, and you think about how that has changed. Well, during that same time, lacrosse has taken off, and girls lacrosse. So you've got competing things that are out there, but yet girls golf is still growing, and you got the club sports and things like that. And what kept people away from golf for the longest period of time is the cost involved. They say, oh, it costs so much. Well, cost is because you see all these club sports that are growing, and golf is just as accessible as those things. And it's individualized, and you get to go to all these places and things like that. So I'll try not to get off on too much to change it there, but like girls golf is a different game. It resembles the men's game much more than what it resembled as the beginner sport, or something that was kind of a club feel, like a club sport feel, or just a hobby or something to do between seasons and things like that. Girls are playing golf year round, and that our girls and your friends get asked a lot, hey, can you be on my captain's choice team? Because they know they can pound the ball way out there, and then they've got a putt or something like to play these captain's choice events and fundraisers and things.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, when I'm watching, the pros, women and men, a lot of times it seems like the best swings out there are the girls or the ladies. And they just seem to, I don't know why that is actually. Is it less egos, potentially less machoism, that they're not trying to kill the ball with brute force all the time, and they're swinging within themselves. I don't know what the difference is, but just something I've noticed over the years, and it's been helpful for my own game watching girls golf. Like, oh wow, I need to try to do that move a little bit better in my backswing or whatever. And the putting, you mentioned that they just seem to have a really good feel A lot better than I do, that's for sure.
They probably practice a lot more than you and I do.
Yeah, that too. All right, moving on. We're going to get to 4A, 3A, and 2A, and I think just as format-wise goes, before we get into those state championships, Coach, what's the format for the South Carolina High School League Girls Golf State Championships, and how they get there, and then once they get there, how it's broken down?
Each classification has a different method on some things. Some have a qualifying score at an event, like a qualifier, upper or lower qualifier. And others, they take the top 8 teams from the upper and the lower. So 5A does that. I believe 4A does that as well, where they take the top 8 teams and they automatically qualify. And then you have like 4 individuals from non-qualifying teams that make the state tournament. How they score is you play 5 players and you count the best 4 scores. You know, if a team only had 4 players, and then they would count their best 4 scores. And you do have individuals that qualify out of regions as well, and they're just competing to try to get to state individually. At the end of the day, we were playing 36 holes, and 18 one day, 18 the next, and you're counting the best 4 scores out of 5 players, and you hope that your scores are lower than everybody else's.
Gotcha. All right, dig it into 4A, Coach. Hilton Head Lakes is going to host the 4A state championship game. Something tells me there's a lot of water on that course and probably some tall pines.
There is a lot of water. There are some alligators there. It's a really good golf course. We've been fortunate to play it the past 2 seasons for girls. It provides unique challenges as well. You know, it's flatter. You know, it's not a Carolina Country Club. It's not a upstate course. So it's flatter. So the challenges are really the greens and the direction you're hitting your ball. It's pretty wide open overall. There are a couple places where you've got it tied up in some forest and things like that, but there's a neighborhood around there. Those people are amazing. They want to host events for our juniors and our high school teams. I think this is 2 years in a row, or they hosted a qualifier last year and wanted to host the state this year. So it's May River plays there. May River has won the state championship, I think, the past 2 years. They're still right there in contention after losing some really good seniors. But Hilton Head's there, you know, and Hilton Head's really, really good. You've got some good teams in 4A. I was going to be able to pull up some data. I'm having some little technical difficulties there as well. But there's some really good play down there. And the golf course, like I said, it is pretty gettable at times. But they can put some pins in some interesting locations and, you know, tempt some players, and the bunkers come into play a lot more there as well. So hopefully we won't get rain, because that golf course plays extremely long when it gets rainy. And I think they're predicting some rain for Monday for the state. So we haven't had rain in a while. So that's going to change some plans for every girl golfer and coach for the state.
Well, as a golfer, you know, I hate playing in the slop, and I'd imagine for a state championship, they're gonna, if it does get too wet out there, they might put a lift clean in place rule in effect.
It depends on before. You know, how much happens before. If it's during, as long as it's not lightning and the greens aren't puddling up, we're playing. You know, we're going to start, we're going to finish, because the rule in South Carolina High School League is if you don't finish the round, you don't go complete the round the next day. You either wash out that round or you play it back in its entirety. And
Wow.
so we've got Monday and Tuesday to get our 36 holes in. So you don't want to shorten it to 18 holes for a state championship if you can avoid that. But it's happened, but again, you don't want it. A state championship needs to be 36 holes, and really see, because anybody can play well for a day. How can you do for the duration? So is my personal opinion, a lot of our coaches association opinion as well.
Well, this might have been the data you were looking for 4A, but it looks like lower state, 1, 2, and 3, South Aiken, Hilton Head, May River, all finished within 2 strokes of each other. South Aiken won the lower state with an aggregate score of 332, then Hilton Head at 333, and May River at 334. And then the Battling Bishops from Bishop, England, as my co-host loves that alliteration there. They were next on the leaderboard at 375. So those top 3 teams, who knows what's going to happen this upcoming state championship next Monday and Tuesday. And then we had Fountain Inn.
They're and Fountain Inn's an up and coming team, and they've got some really good players, young players. They're a young team. I think this is just their 4th year having a girls team, so they've done really well. You've got you've got AC Flora there as well. So they've got great players. So you mentioned between Fountain Inn and AC Flora and the 3 that you mentioned from the lower state, I think that's your 5 probably, or probably one of those 5 will be in there. South Aiken has some young players as well, and they're battle tested. All of these teams are battle tested, but the best logo out of those is the Battling Bishops. I don't know who your friend is, but that's the best logo out there. It's amazing. So.
Yeah, it's a great logo. There's a lot of great logos in this state. I'm a Lexington grad, so I love the Lexington colors, which may be why I like the Wren Hurricanes logo so much, especially when it's in the upstate of Greenville area. Yeah. So some really great logos out there for sure. Coach, you're going to have to educate me a little bit more on these classifications, but 3A and 2A, 3A state championship will be held at the Diamondback Golf Course. I actually know that one a little bit in Aner, a challenging course. And then Chester Country Club is going to host the 2A state championship in Louisville. Tell us a little bit more about those teams, if you could give us a little bit of information on those.
Right. Well, I can tell you about Diamondback Golf Course, and their host team is Aner, and Patrick Wilkinson is the general manager, head pro there. And if there's anybody that's gold for golf, I'm just going to sing his praises. He is gold for golf across the state. If there's a need to host something and things like that, he's going to find a way to host it on that golf course. And that golf course is in ever improving shape. It is really, really nice to play it, but it is a challenge. Like there are a couple holes where you can miss in the wrong place and you're completely dead. And he'll have it in really, really great shape and marked well. And the girls will earn every bit of their score out there. But the best thing about that place is Patrick and his staff there. They're going to treat everybody like they're a member. So they're going to work, and then be treated like queens down there. So the best player, and I believe, is Ella Kate Burnett, who plays for Aner. She's a wonderful player, wonderful young lady, and I expect her individually to win. And I don't have the list of everybody in that classification. You probably have that. I know Lou's been working hard too at the state getting those things, but there's some really good teams that will be playing down there. But again, the golf course is going to provide a very, very difficult challenge for a lot of the players. and there's a lot of water there. I think it used to be a hunting and fishing thing. So there's literally
Mm-hmm.
water on nearly every hole out there. And, you said you're familiar with it. So I take my fishing rod when I go there. I'm not going to lie. So I fish and I play golf. So
that's one thing people don't know about golfers is a lot of golfers, especially the kids when they're in high school, when they have the time, they're either golfing or they're fishing on one of the courses, or maybe going to the lake to take a break from the little white ball that's given them maybe some helter-skelter moments here and there. Well, Coach, before we jump off, I just want to make sure we cover the North and South roster for the North-South Golf All-Star event. Just to kind of run down real quick, if you have any notes on any of these, feel free. But the North girls golf roster is going to be Ava Romanowski from Dorman, Marissa Scaletta from TL Hanna, Merritt Barberry from AC Flora, Kate Gunnels from BHP, Belton Honeypath, Olivia Jones at Mountain View Prep, Caitlin Cox at Blue Ridge, Abigail Watson at Chesney, Julia Conroy at St. Joe's. And then for the South, we got, I'm probably not going to pronounce this name right, but Manea Kozanen from Carolina Forest, Bella Bozard from West Ashley, Taryn Smoke at Lexington, Ava Kaplan at Wando, Annabelle Carmen from Ashley Ridge. And Coach, we already said we were not going to get this name right earlier, but Gia Marticello at Lexington. Hopefully I did that.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and apologize for that too. Like, I'm sorry, Gia, that we definitely love you. We can't say that.
Yeah, we're from Columbia area, South Carolina. That's too hard for us to say down here. Jenna Kate Hoffman from Berkeley, and Michaela Owen from North Myrtle Beach. Congratulations to those senior golfers for being selected that high honor. And Coach, as we kind of wrap things up, thank you so much for your time today. One of the things that we kind of hit on very beginning of the episode, and we talked about yesterday, was just the growing the game aspect in South Carolina High School League golf, from the girls' side especially. What are some of those things that you're passionate about, and kind of the initiatives that y'all are taking as a coaches association to continue growing this great game for girls golf in South Carolina?
One is visibility. Golf a lot of times is overshadowed. You've got a whole show that's about football, and I love football. Played high school football, love it. But we're in communities where football, baseball, soccer, volleyball, all those things get a lot of notoriety, and people pay tickets and things like that to go see those things. And Friday night football is a culture, and we're in South Carolina, and football kind of is the king of a lot of things. But things we're trying to do as far as visibility, we've got our own app. It's called SCHS Golf, where everybody can see our results. They pay season pass, and now we're in the playoffs, so they buy playoff tickets, but they can see the results, and it's live scoring. And that any proceeds from that go to our coaches association to provide events like our North-South event that you just mentioned, that for many years did not even exist as a girls only event. They kind of tagged on to their boys. So we had 2 girls from the North and 2 girls from the South that would play as part of the boys, and that wasn't really fair. So we wanted more notoriety for these girls that were getting better and better. So we started that as a coaches association a few years back. But really, it's the visibility. This is a real golf. This is real golf for girls now, and I mentioned that earlier. The girls can play, and if you go out to the golf course and you watch them practice and things like that, they're working hard and they're getting better. And if you want to bet money with them, you can go ahead and bet money with them. You're probably going to lose some money on that for a lot of these girls. But what we're trying to do is make sure that the girls have access that boys have access, that we have good relationships with golf courses. We have good relationships with the South Carolina Junior Golf Association and any other organizations that, like the CGA, that host events for juniors and let them understand that high school is very much a vehicle for players to play in their events. Because we have a lot of players. There are more high school players than there are that are listed, girls high school players than there are listed in our South Carolina Junior Golf Association. And I mentioned the growth before, but we can be a vehicle for more involvement across the state. And what we want to do as a coach association, in addition to visibility and the growing, is to connect the dots, so to speak, between all of these organizations and these golf pros and things like that, to where we're all working together towards the same goal of making golf better and making it more approachable, and just continuing to grow. And there are pockets around the state where golf really, really thrives. And you mentioned some of the smaller classifications and things like that where they might have individuals or not have as many teams and things like that. But we're trying to make it as accessible as possible, and having out where you can see names and you get more familiar with these names and who's doing what and things like that is really great. And you've got we try to have a good relationship with our media as well. Lou at the state is amazing, and Stan Lennox, who has the Golf Club SC, he's amazing ambassador for golf and high school golf, and he's passionate about it, and especially in the upstate. So we're really trying to connect all the dots and get everybody working together on the same page, so our game continues to grow and get more popular. And that's a challenge, because everybody's doing a lot of different things and doing really, really good things, but trying to kind of unify some of that is tough.
That's great, Coach. That's one of my favorite things about golf. It's a lifetime sport. Number one, you can't really say that about many other sports out there. Maybe tennis, but golf seems to be a little easier on the body at times. So that these girls that are growing up and playing and competing at a high level now will be equipped with something that they can spend their lifetime enjoying. And bringing enjoyment to others, and then just the relationships that you form in golf. As you know, it's just a small community, that it creates great relationships in your community, in your churches, in your businesses, as you get older. And it's one of the reasons why I love the game so much is the relationship aspect of it and what it brings to people's the value it brings to people's lives over the course of their their childhood, and then as they become young adults, and then get to our age too. So, Coach, thank you so much for bringing us on. I told you we were going to be on for maybe 20 minutes. We are almost 50 minutes in, so apologies for keeping you too late from your classroom this morning. Also, I just wanted to make one note as well. Meredith Taylor, who is big in this community, is doing a really great job of also helping grow the game by teaching people. And if she can help me in my game, then Lord knows what she can help with somebody else and some of these kids too. She actually has a podcast herself, the Meredith Taylor Show, where she talks a lot about high school golf and the kids that she's teaching and some of the events she goes to. And I've had a chance to listen to it. It's a great podcast for you to listen to. But Coach, thanks again. We'll catch you later on down the road as we try to give even more coverage to girls golf in South Carolina.
Well, I appreciate the time, and anytime, anywhere, we'll do this again. That's more to talk about, especially for our area, about championships and things like that. And maybe we can do the same thing for the boys season as well.
Absolutely. You know it. Well, thanks for listening to this special episode of the Four Quarter Friday show. We're going to have to create a new theme song when we start talking about golf and some of these other sports as well as we dig in throughout the school year. But you can catch us live every Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. That coverage will soon be shifting from football only to other sports as well, and be able to be a little bit more analytical or more commentary as all the other sports in this state get going. And for all you volleyball players and coaches out there and parents, we're not going to forget about you. We're going to have something planned on that soon as y'all are finishing up your seasons as well. And be sure to check us out on YouTube, on the Chief Sports YouTube channel. We're on Facebook as well, the Four Quarter Friday show, and we're streaming live on X on those Friday mornings as well. And on the app, you can check us on Spotify now. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts that we're now uploading all this content to for more people to listen to wherever they want to listen. Again, this is Steve Hall for the Four Quarter Friday show. See you next time.
It's the Four Quarter Friday High School Show on the Chief Sports Network. Proudly covering high school athletics across the state of South Carolina. With accurate, trusted analysis, in-depth interviews with coaches, media, and players, and quality information. Hosted by Justin Hall and Steve Hall. Now back to the show. Here's Justin and Steve.